Hi, Kevin Darby from Darby Training Systems here. We've been really focused on hip mobility. Today I'm going to give you a sequence that you can do that will prepare you for any type of squatting movements. So the first thing we start off is with a movement called the hip opener. This is taken from Chris and Ann Frederick, founders and developers of fascial stretch therapy. So as we internally rotate the hip, we're starting to warm up the joint, releasing synovial fluid, getting the joint ready for activity. Remember, we have to focus on the joint capsule first, and then we're going to do a fascial focused sequence. So you do this as many times as you have to until tension is released. And then, if I'm going to be working on my right hip, I let my legs drop to the right, and I roll up into this position. From here, I'm going to do some gentle movements to start, to release the glutes and get the hips ready for the activity that we want to do. So I'm using the stretch, wave, I'm reaching, and I'm hitting different angles because the glutes are a fan-shaped muscle, so we don't want to create mobility in just one area. So we move around, and then I'll transition up into what is a traditional pigeon pose for yoga, and the same sort of thing. I'm going to reach forward, and I'm just checking in at different angles, and note the continuous movement. That's the key to loosening up the fascia. It's a continuous movement. And then I'll transition right up into my squat position. So I'm going to dig that leg and drive it forward. And then I'm just checking out each of the angles. I can look right over my left shoulder. Good. So I drive my knee out as I look over the opposite shoulder. And I'm just hanging out, checking out the angles. I can revisit them a little bit on the way back down with the pigeon pose first, and then transitioning right into the 90-90, and then back over into my hip opener. I feel quite a bit looser on that right leg, and then I'd obviously repeat the series on my left leg, but one of the key things that people don't do is they don't integrate that newfound range of motion into grooving a movement pattern. So after I've done that series, as you can see, if I squat down, there's quite a bit more range of motion on my right side, but now I need to integrate it. So here's a simple sequence for integrating and preparing you for movement. So I start off in the bottom position, and I just do a little bounce. Little bounce, staying tight, 4 or 5 reps, and I come up a little higher, and here I'm charging the fascia, getting it ready for the activity that I'm going to be doing. And I come up a little higher, and I'm bouncing. It's all under tension. And then from this motion, little bounce on the hips, catch. Little bounce, catch. Little bounce, catch. If you're doing cleans, then we just integrate the movement. So remember, you want to do a sequence that's going to increase mobility, and then you want to train the brain and prepare the body for the activity that you're about to do by doing some sort of dynamic movement with it. Remember, you got to be mobile to move.